If you were living in the 19th century, you will find it hard to believe most things existing today will exist. However, Nikola Tesla released a terrifying message about them. Please join us as we look into Nikola Tesla's terrifying messages. Nikola Tesla was one of the greatest scientists of the last century. Take your phone, camera, or any electronic gadget you can take, and we can be sure you are holding something Teslean. As a man born into a Christian family, he was expected to do the family business and become a parishioner, but he would not be doing that. Instead, Tesla made sure he continued with what he wanted. Even when his father could have had the final day, Tesla was lucky to be sick and had his dad promise him that he would be given whatever he wanted if he could get out of the sickness, and that he would be allowed to pursue his love of science. Thus began his story as a scientist. Now, we should discuss some very important things Nikola Tesla predicted. Nikola Tesla predicted the kind of world we have now critically, easily, and fruitfully. First is his prediction about the environment. He saw how the environment was being treated and was deeply affected. He wanted to find a way to solve that nagging problem. In the next coming decades, he would quip in his interview, and the environment will become unbearable. From all that we know right now, there is no lie in it. It will take the majority of humanity about 2020 before it becomes international news. Apart from this, he also mentioned long transmission devices like telephones. He felt that telephones would be an international sensation later, even in the age when television was still very scarce. This shows his genius oversight. But something more could be said to be taking place. He predicted that the invention of the telephone would usher in a new world order. Apart from telephones being disposed of and therefore contaminating the earth, he also mentioned how their use could make our earth better or also worse, especially the energy boozing from them, affecting the atmosphere, or the method by which we make them. Tesla then projected the invention and creation of AI. For him, AI would be able to do all humans can. He stressed that they would be able to perform repetitive labor. That became more true eventually, as we now have humanoids that can communicate. One wonders, how could such a man know all these things right from the outset? It is a reality, to be sincere, much of a wonder to date. But nonetheless, that is not all about it. Do you know that despite predicting something more akin to the gloom, Nikola Tesla believed we should still continue with the whole technological advancement thing? Yes, he did, but not without offering his own caveat. He made it a point that we should begin to learn how to control our technological devices. For example, he wants us to be able to do high-level critical thinking and a lot of other methodical thinking to master them. However, he wants a situation where people can develop even more advanced ideas to get it. To show you his passion for advancement, we will now take you on what he tried to do. You probably have held it. Yes, the Tesla project. Orchestrated by himself from the onset, he roughly sought someone who could finance it. He was lucky to have a person in J.P. Morgan when no one was available. The plan was that Wardenclyffe Tower would be a 57-meter tall tower on the east coast of the United States and would be used to transport power from the Atlantic to Europe. After having spent over $15,000, J.P. Morgan backed out, stating that the company must have a profit before he could spend more on it. Even at that, he would have still loved to finance it, but a really difficult disagreement ensued between him and Tesla. Originally, Morgan sponsored the project because he felt he would earn more money eventually. But as time passed, he noticed that Nikola Tesla was trying to build something that would generate light for the United States without earning more money for them. Being a salesman, he went to speak to Tesla about it. The latter never agreed. This saddened Morgan, so he eventually withdrew from it, leaving the project to no success. Though the project failed, we can still see its elements. Chiefly, smartphones are the true beneficiaries today. For example, you could charge your phone with just some irons touching some irons, right? In those days, that might be extremely impossible. In fact, It's far away from what could have been imagined. Had it been the case that Morgan followed through, we probably would have had that earlier and cheaper and easier. Now, Tesla thought that things like canoes existing then could be moved by remote sensing systems, and guess what? He did it. He successfully performed a series of maneuvers using a remote-controlled boat for an electrical display at Madison Square Garden in New York. He equipped the 4-foot-long boat he used with a wired antenna and controlled the device around a small pool of water with other instructions like flashing lights. Most onlookers had never seen such an amazing thing before, probably felt it was like nothing short of magic. And those who did not believe in anything superstition rested on something else. They thought that Tesla had a little monkey controlling the boat from the inside. Or how could you explain a boat moving by itself in that corner? But it was nothing magical at all. It was simply one of the first demonstrations of a remote-controlled device. But everybody who witnessed the demonstration and knew how the system could afford such a thing marveled at the ingenuity level of Tesla's device. Even military personnel at the demonstration saw potential ways to apply it, such as torpedoes. They believe he has wireless control. For example, he feels wireless control could be done from a great distance, that is, somewhere not so close. Although this sounds absurd, that is exactly what has happened now. For instance, military surveillance cameras have been tapping into this huge potential. Moreover, drones. There are a lot of countries that now have drones that they use to fight against their possible enemies. As great as they are, they all benefited from Tesla. Of course, they are not only used for war. They've been used to monitor natural disasters. Drones apart, Tesla also went into the automobile industry. In fact, he spoke with some organizations to get him to help them build cars that could drive themselves. That sounded too ambitious to the owners of Mercedes-Benz then, and they chose not to dabble in such a thing for many reasons. But what do we have now? At least something close to it. Yes, in what Elon Musk has done. Musk has built Tesla cars which he displayed with happiness. Although they have an autopilot function, the car is not totally autopilot. Hence, we said we only have something close to it as far as we're concerned. Moreover, we use wireless technology even in an even better form in our communication now. Today, you can produce a message and send it to the internet. Soon you figure out that the whole world is already reading your message. Yes, on Twitter. You can also connect to the internet. All of these things had their beginning with Tesla. One must look at the right interview and find out what he said. Open and clear, everything will be seen. Perhaps the last thing on Tesla's mind is yet to be achieved, but who knows whether it can be achieved. It is a thought machine. According to him, the thought machine will be so good that it can sort out what you're thinking with what happens in your brain. By that, we can detect what people think, he said, and most court cases would be nipped in the bud. Till today, only fMRI used in neuroscience has been able to be near. Nothing else is. What do you think about Tesla's last invention? Between living as Tesla in the time of Tesla and living in today's world where you can easily go to Twitter, see videos on YouTube and more, which would you prefer? Once again, thank you. Please try to like, subscribe, and follow.